Welcome to the session on Organization Design and Development. Myself, Professor Bharti Sungar here from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology. So today's topic of discussion is organization process approaches. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one what these approaches are and how they work in the organization to bring out changes in the organization or improvements in the organization. So these organization process approaches are mainly dependent upon the diagnostic system of the organization. So whatever diagnosis was done in the initial stages in the organization in this whole developmental process, so based on that, these interventions are totally dependent upon. So whatever changes you want to bring in the organization, it will be at large. It will be implemented for the whole organization here. So that is why whatever diagnosis was done, so based on that, what kind of approaches can be brought in and what kind of changes can be brought in the processes of the organization, we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. Here, the OD practitioner should be able to clearly articulate a sound business case as to how the environmental pressures or the organization design features constraining current effectiveness will be addressed by the process interventions. So, it is just not one area or one person or a one group of people here which this approaches are going to address here. These interventions will help the whole organization at large, which is going to be affected by outer pressures in the sense it may be like competitive pressures, it may be like economic pressures, it may be like industry pressures, right? Such kind of pressures are going to be addressed using these interventions, organization at large interventions. Okay, so but what is the main basis is they will be dependent upon totally the diagnosis of the organization. So whatever data they get from the diagnosis, based on that data, these interventions or approaches are going to be designed and implemented at the organization level. So these are organization process interventions. So the first one is a very interesting one, that is organization confrontation meeting. So here it is a kind of a meeting which addresses the problems of the whole organization. So what they do is they conduct a meeting at large where lot of people from the organization will be a part of that meeting. And here in this meeting, what they discuss is they identify or they discuss the problems of the organization. So when everybody is being a part of this meeting, this confrontation meeting, that means every corner of the organization is easily addressed here. So everybody will put up their problems, their departmental related problems or their group related problems, everything are put up in this whole meeting. So once all the problems are discussed in this meeting, then they are prioritized. That means what problems should be addressed first, or what problems should be concentrated more upon, and what problems are important to be immediately solved. So that priorities are set at the second level of this confrontation meeting. And after that, action targets are planned. So so once you identify the problem, you set the priorities, which are the major problems which have to be addressed immediately, then the actions will be taken to resolve those particular problems. So that is what is done in a confrontation meeting here. How the process works? It's very simple here. So a meeting is scheduled by the management or the OD consultant here. If the management has assigned this task to the OD consultant, he will schedule a meeting where people from various groups or departments in the organization will be representing them. So it is not like the whole organization will meet here. Only people who are representing those groups. Okay, let us say there is HR department, one or two people from HR department will come. Let us say there is marketing, one or two people who are on the topmost level, who understand the whole organization, how it is working. So they will come here and attend this meeting. So first thing is the OD practitioner or the management will schedule the meeting. Second thing is small groups are created representing multiple perspectives. As I told you, so multiple perspectives in the sense like different departments, it may be different work processes, it may be, or different kind of activities happening in the company, it may be. So based on those perspectives, small groups are created here. Certain ground rules are set here. What are these ground rules? Ground rules are how these groups have to behave with each other, and how they are supposed to put up their problems, how they have to develop a solution to those problems. All those things, certain guidelines are given to them in the next stage of this confrontation meeting process. So what all things the company is going to look here, what will be the outcomes of it. So all that briefing is done to this groups who are going to attend the confrontation meeting. And at the same time, one more information is passed on to them, that is how this whole meeting is going to work and what should be the expected outcome. Even that also information is passed on to them. So these guidelines once given, everybody will go in line with the meeting. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be chaos, people will be confused, they will not be able to understand how to move about with the whole meeting process, right? So some common ground rules are set here, so that meeting goes on very smoothly and it is productive in nature. So that is why the ground rules are set. After the ground rules are set, now that the groups know how they are supposed to perform or take on with the meeting process, they will start with that. So there, the first thing what they will work on is identify the problems or opportunities. I have told it in the initial stage also that the problems, um, the interventions or this OD organization development just does not address only problems. It also addresses the opportunities. That is, even for developmental purpose or growth purpose in the organization also, these interventions are necessary. So what the group members who are going to attend these meetings is going to do is, they are going to identify the problems and opportunities. So once they are able to identify those problems and opportunities, they prioritize them. They just not simply present all the problems in front of the management here. So they prioritize them, which are most important, which are least important problems, where we can immediately solve the issues and how it can be beneficial for the organization. So they will sit and discuss, and the major prioritized problems of the organizations are put forth to the large group. So that is what is reporting out to the large group. Reporting out to the large group means here they are supposed to inform it to the management with the other members of the organization. So these group members are only representing their departments or groups, okay, or their teams. Here, all the people will not be a part of the meeting here. So for that reason, everybody should be informed. See, these are the major problems which have been identified by us, and these are the areas which we are supposed to concentrate upon so that our organization can grow. So this information has to be passed on to the management and at the same time to the members of the organization here. That is all the employees. So once that is done, once the information is discussed with a large group, a master list is being prepared. So now they will sit and discuss, all of them together will sit and discuss which are the main areas which have to be concentrated, uh, uh, that is the problem areas which have to be concentrated immediately to be resolved. So of course, the prioritization happens in the initial stages, but still here a master list is being prepared, wherein only those areas are immediately taken up to solve the issues. So once that master list of problems or opportunities have been prepared, the groups will start working on that. So in this stage, problem solving groups are created. So the groups which were used to identify the problems, maybe the same people can continue to solve the problems also, or maybe some addition or deletion of members from the groups can also happen here. So problem solving groups are created. So these groups will identify how to resolve the issues. Then the rank the issues and opportunities, develop an action plan and specify the timetable. So these groups, what they will do is, whatever master list has been prepared, no, so with the list of problems and opportunities, so they will rank them. which should be the first solved, which should be second solved, which should be third taken up for the development in the organization. So like this, they will rank them, and then they will develop a plan of action. So once that plan of action is prepared, so this information is with the timetable, this time schedule, when to do what and everything, it is given to the large group. And based on that, the large group, that is the whole organization, starts working towards development in solving the issues or in grabbing the opportunities in the industry. So the immediately after that, periodic reports are taken up by the management here or the OD consultant here, so that it can be checked as to how the things are going ahead with the confrontation meeting process. So this is how this confrontation meeting process works in. Okay. So it starts with scheduling a meeting. Small groups are created which represent the multiple departments here. Certain ground rules are set up. Problems are identified by them and opportunities also. After that, they report it to the larger group. So once that large group comes to know, all of them sit together and main master list, because problems can be 100. You cannot concentrate upon all the problems here. So a master list is prepared. So once that master list is prepared, small problem solving groups are created here. So the task of these problem solving groups are to prioritize those master lists that based on the importance and how they are going to affect the organization. They develop the action plan with the specific time schedules, and that information is passed on to the larger group to go and implement it to solve the issues. So that is what is an organization confrontation meeting process. The second type of confrontation meeting, the second type of organization intervention is intergroup relations. So this kind of intervention, it mainly concentrates upon trying to strengthen the relationships between the group members in the organization, and more over conflicts especially. So the quality of the group relationship is very, very important, because if the group relations are good, that is how you can even expect the organization also to perform here. So for that reason, you should concentrate more upon trying to strengthen the relationship between the bonding between the group members here. So two major interventions you can find out here. One is microcosm group, and second is resolving intergroup conflict. Microcosm group is very related to this parallel structures. Hope we know what are parallel structures. So they are small groups here who are working in the larger system in the organization. These small groups may be consisting of experts from various departments or teams in the organization. So what these people will do is they will identify the problem and try to solve the problems in the organization here. So small group member characteristics must reflect the issue being addressed here. Let us say if addressing a diversity issue, the group must also be diverse. Let us say the company has gone for merger, and right now they are in such a position where total diversified diversified employee group is existing in the organization. So they have a lot of issues in terms of adjustment, in terms of communication or anything like that. So in that case, how to address this diversity issue? You cannot take or form a group which has only one category of people here. You have to ensure that people from different diversified groups are member of this small microcosm group. And once this microcosm group is prepared, so they will try to come out with the solutions for the diversity problem here. So as I told you, it works very parallelly to the organization. So it can also be called as a parallel structure. These microcosm groups, how they work is, they first identify the issue. Let us take an example of workforce diversity only. We all know what is workforce diversity. Workforce diversity is nothing but people coming from various age groups, people coming from various genders, people coming from various places, castes, communities, languages, countries, together form a diversified work group. Okay, so how to address the issues? Issues can be like adjustments between the members. Issues can be like communication problems. Issues can be like language problems. Issues can be like adjusting to the new environment. So a diversified workforce have these kind of issues. So what does this microcosm group do? So the management or the OD consultant will identify people from these diversified groups, okay, and they are taken and a microcosm group is formed here. So this microcosm group, they will first identify what is the issue, whether it is adjustment, whether it is adjusting to the environment, or whether it is mainly towards the communication related problem. So that issue is identified, and this issue has to be addressed by the microcosm group. So whatever microcosm group was created here, this group is is kind of a given training here, right? How to solve the issue. So what these people are supposed to do is, once they get the training, let us say the communication related problem, language problem. So they don't know how to talk in various languages. So this group is trained on those languages or communication skills. So what this group will do is, they will go back to their own bigger groups. Let us say there are a set of people coming from US. They have some communication problem. So one person from that US group will be a part of this microcosm group. So how can they ease in and understand the language, or how they can communicate with the other groups? Training is provided to them. So this person who is from belongs to American group, a diversified group, he will go back and try to train the other members in the group. Like this, time is also not wasted. At the same time, you are not going to spend too much of amount on training huge number of people here, right? So if everybody is comfortable and if they are able to solve the issues, immediately the group gets dissolved. Okay, so that is how this microcosm group works. First, a issue is identified. Sometimes the group can be convened earlier also, or else after identifying the issue, the management can call up a small group and it can be called as a microcosm group. So this group is trained to solve the issues in the organization. So once they are trained, they go back to their teams or departments, and there they will try to address the issues. So they will start training the employees in the department. They will start addressing their issues in the departments. So once the whole organization problems are resolved like this, the group gets dissolved up. So the major advantage of this is, you don't need everybody to come and attend the training sessions. Okay, at the same time, the work is also not hindered, the productivity is also not affected by using such kind of a strategy. So that is what is microcosm group here. Then this is one of the biggest problems in most of the organization, that is intergroup conflict. This is one more conflict which is again related to relationship among the group members here. So what happens is, groups and a consultant convene a meeting to address the issues in the organization, and these issues are more related to the conflicts. Conflicts are fights or disagreements or opinions not matching with each other, decisions not being accepted. So conflicts can be related to many things here. So groups are asked to address major 3 questions here. So this process, how it works is, first it works with a consultant. That is, the groups as well as the consultant will sit together and try to address the issue here. It's always preferable that whenever there are conflicts, a third person is intervening in the solving process. Why? Because there is a need for somebody to manage the situations. Okay, so third person here is a consultant between the group members or the groups here. So what this consultant will be doing, he will be trying to control, manage the groups here. So that is why third person is always necessary whenever conflicts are being resolved in the organization, especially intergroup conflict. So first thing is, consultant and groups will convene a meeting or will try to address the issues in the groups. Next, groups are asked to address 3 major questions. What qualities or attributes best describe our group? The first thing, right? So what are the qualities in us, or what are the attributes which talk about group in a very positive manner? What qualities and attributes best describe their group, that is the other group. Let us say two groups are there, in between two groups conflicts are happening. So first question is ask about your group. Next question is ask about talk about their group. That is, what are the best qualities in the opposite group? Okay. Then how do we think that other group will describe us? So third question is, let us say there is group A and group B. The first thing what you are supposed to do is, my group is group A. So what are the attributes or best qualities of my group? Second question is, what are the best qualities of B group? Third question is, how does the B group understand about us, that is group A? So if you are able to address or answer these questions, majority of the questions are being clarified, the issues are being clarified. So if you have positive opinions about other groups and other groups also have positive opinion about yourself, that means somewhere your most of the issues get resolved. You start respecting each other, you start respecting other group qualities and values, somewhere the issues can be resolved here. So by doing such kind of an exercise, what happens is, the kind of communication is established and things get more clarified here. So let us say if group A does not have a good opinion about group B, he will tell it openly to them. He will describe the group B here in front of group B only. So by doing so, what happens? Group B will understand where they are going wrong. So by doing this, what they will do, they start changing their qualities or attributes, right? So if this discussion does not happen, people will keep everything in their minds only, and problems may not be resolved here. So by exchange of communication or information between the group members, most of the answers or most of the queries are clarified here. So the groups will sit, analyze the discrepancies and work to understand their contribution to the perception. So here you will try to understand why the other group is thinking about me like this. Yeah, are we so negative? Are we not working? Are we lacking behind in something? So these questions will come up if you get to describe, if the other group describes about you. So once you start analyzing your own issues, there itself only most of your problems get resolved. So group discusses the discrepancies and the contributions, and after that groups work towards the action plans and key areas of the improvement here. So intergroup conflict basically helps you to try to solve your own issues rather than concentrating upon other people's issues, okay, or other group issues here. So if your group becomes the best here, so nobody can put up a point a finger at you and say that see, your contribution is very less to the organization. So that is why this is a very interesting kind of a technique which mainly concentrates upon trying to bring improvements in your own groups, ultimately solving the issues in the uh, uh, intergroup conflicts in the organization. So we have, other than that, larger group interventions also. Okay, so these larger group interventions mainly focus upon the whole organization here. So these organizations, if you want to bring out some changes, it becomes really very difficult, because handling one small problem is a different thing. Handling a bigger problem for the whole organization may be a different thing. So examples like developing a new product, new services, or trying to respond to some environmental change, trying to introduce new technology in the organization. So such kind of uh, areas need more concentration, and they are really highly time consuming. Some change programs can be like conferences, open space meetings, open systems plannings, world cafes, decision accelerators, or appreciative inquiry summits. We are not going to discuss all these areas, but few of them we are going to discuss in these large group interventions. So what happens in this large group meetings? Okay, so these group meetings, wherein most of the members, that is the organization members, will be a part of these large group meeting systems. The major problem of these large group meetings are handling the crowd. Okay, so because everyone starts talking and trying to contribute to the whole meeting, maybe you need time. Second thing, things may not get clarified easily. So that is why planning for this meeting is very, very important here. So organization members' perceptions play a very important role, especially environmental related issues. Let us say industry. Okay, so industry at large is being affected due to some government decisions. Okay, so now in this situation, it's an environmental related issue. So that is external environment. So here the organization members have to give their own perceptions or put up their own perceptions in the meeting. So how can we cope up or overcome this effect which has happened due to some government decision? So every person in the company will start giving his own opinions, right? So all the members will start sharing their common views and opinions about the organization, and um, actions can also be taken based on that. So let us say there are 100 members who have been a part of this large group meeting. So out of that, 40 people have one opinion, 20 people have another opinion, 30 people have another opinion, and 10 people have another opinion. So all the 100 people are grouped like this. So based upon their opinions or perceptions, the issues can be taken up one by one. So let us say 50 people have the opinion that the problem has to be resolved by implementing new technology. Then all together, the management and the organization members can go ahead in planning the uh, technology updation in the organization. So the main area is most of them, they try to deviate from the environmental issues here. So for that reason, what you do here is you always concentrate upon the area of whatever the environment issue we are addressing. No, you have to concentrate mainly upon that. You should not deviate from that. So whatever perceptions these members are, the first thing your OD consultant should do is concentrate upon whether all those are concentrating upon the environment or not. Okay, so that economic issue or that government decision or not. So based on that, the responses are taken, and once the responses are taken, you can also ask them how the issues can be resolved. So by doing so, what will happen is you get ideas from people, and using those ideas, you can really come out with a very good intervention or a action plan for your own organization. So that is what happens in large group meeting processes. So how do you prepare the large group for the meeting here? First thing is ensure that there is a theme for the meeting. You cannot just ask the members of the organization to be open and start discussing whatever issues they are having in the departments. No, that cannot happen. So if it is only related to a new decision taken by the government recently, okay, so fix up a theme related to that. So once that theme is set up, now identify the stakeholders who are supposed to participate in the large group meeting. So once that is done, develop relevant tasks to address the meeting theme. So how can we take up this whole meeting? How can we not allow the people to deviate from the theme? All this planning has to happen. And the people whom you have identified, a message has to be sent up to attend the meeting on so and so date and so time. After that, conduct the meeting. So how do you conduct the meeting? First thing is you have open system methods and you have open space methods. So this open system methods mainly concentrates upon organization uh, trying to interact with the environment. So we already know what are open systems and closed systems here. Open systems are something where organization interacts and adapts to the changes in the environment here. But whereas a closed system is something wherein the environment is the organization does not get affected by the changes happening in the um, outside environment here. So that is a closed system. And whatever today you can witness in the market, most of them, 99.999% of them are open systems, because they are influenced and they are affected by what is happening around them. Let us say during this corona COVID issue also, all the organizations are getting affected here. Why? Because all of them are examples of open systems here. So in these open systems, people have to understand how the organization is going to get affected due to the environment, external environment of the organization. So they have to keep in mind what changes have to be brought in, so that we meet the external environmental demands. What are the expectations of the external environment? How things are changing around us. Okay, so what will be the future scenario of our external environment? So all these things have to be considered when it comes to open system methods. You cannot consider yourself that we are a closed system here, right? So how things are going to affect us now and how things are going to affect us tomorrow. So keeping that in mind, the issues have to be discussed. Then there is open space system. So this is more related to your own facility or your own department here, right? So how to address what I can say, your facility or your departmental issue here. In the sense, I'll give an example. If it is a production unit, right? So how to resolve the issues in the production unit by bringing changes in the assembly line. So that concentrates more upon open space methods. So here, by trying to bring some minimum changes in the structures of the organization or work system, you can make a large difference. That is, you are trying to self-organize yourself. Open system means you are trying to address the issues of the organization, keeping in mind external environment. Here in open space systems, you are trying to bring smaller changes in your own organization so that you are ready for the challenges. First thing, at large. Second thing, in your own organization. Then there are something called as positive methods. And what are these positive methods? So here, trying to create a motivation, trying to make people happy here, members of the organization happy here, trying to give them growth opportunities, trying to create a very positive and appealing environment for your organization members. So that is what are the positive methods here. So you can bring, there's one technique called as appreciative inquiry. So if one employee comes out with a very important problem identified in the organization, you appreciate him. Okay, so that's a kind of a positive method, right? Such kind of positive methods can also be used here to discuss about the issues of the organization. And then once you are able to work on these three areas, why these positive methods are needed, I'll give one more reason is because if the organization members have resolved the issues in the organization, somewhere a word of appreciation or a reward can really make a difference to institutionalize and stabilize the change in the organization. So if you don't make them feel happy, if you don't appreciate their work, somewhere they may not concentrate on the coming programs in the organization. So for that reason, positive methods are very important. So in the meeting, you have to discuss about at large how the organization can meet the expectations of the environment. Second thing is what kind of minimum changes can be brought in the organization to address the problems. And third thing is what kind of positive methods can be used so that our employees can be motivated to accept the new changes. So if you are able to discuss these three and work on these strategies, while conducting the meeting, it is really going to bring a very positive result for the organization. Then following up on the meeting outcomes here. Okay, so with that, we'll close the session today because hardly 2 minutes is left out. So we'll discuss the open system method in detail, the other techniques a bit later. Okay, so yes, you have any doubts? Everything is there in the PPT. You can go through it, all the open systems, closed systems, positive methods here. So you can go through them, and later you can come back with your problems also. Right now, any problems? Over?
Over.
Okay, fine. So if you have any doubts, you can come back to me in the next session. Also, I'll give an opportunity to talk to you all. Okay, so we'll address your issues a bit later also. The same PPTs are being uploaded already in Google Classroom. Please go through them. Textbook is also being uploaded. Please read it. Once you attend these sessions, if you are reading the textbook, it will be really good for you only to understand the concepts. Okay? So these interventions are a very important part of the syllabus. Don't neglect them. Right? Thank you all. Thank you.